of the talons, but those wings are so long. When you compare the wingtips to the tail, it's really actually doesn't look that long comparative to like an accipiter that has the short rounded wings and the really long tail. So this is an immature female bird, and we know this because of her overall kind of orangey rusty color on her breast, as well as she's kind of more uniform brown on her back, and her head is more of a darker color. So when she gets a little bit older, she's going to be more streaky. She's going to actually have more white on her head and her back. Overall, she's going to look more streaky and even more white on the back of her wings. Also, her eye is going to turn to a yellow color. Right now it's brown, and when she gets older, it's going to be yellow. Males have more of a gray color eye when they're younger, and it turns yellow when they're older. Gray and white body with kind of black fingertips when you go by, so it looks a little bit like a gull from underneath. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. The males are often called gray ghosts. Another thing that you can see when they're flying sometimes is they have a white rump patch on their back, or on their rump. So you can kind of see that right here. And there we go, sticking it out a little bit more for you. And so you won't see it from underneath, but you can see that when they're a little bit lower, or if they turn just right, so you can look for that. One thing I just learned about harriers last night, which is pretty interesting, that some of them are monogamous, but some females will actually group up, and they'll have one male that is the male for all of their eggs, and that's called a harem. And so it's pretty cool. I don't know why. They said it's more often they'll do that when there's more plentiful food. They'll usually have one male for multiple females. And they nest on the ground, and they kind of are more common in like open marshy areas. And so you'll see them flying really, really low, looking and listening for food. These birds actually use their hearing more than any other raptor for hunting. And as you can see its face right here, it looks a little bit like an owl, because it has what looks like facial discs like an owl. She just wants to look back.
The blue skies.
Yeah.
She's going to keep an eye on you.
Yeah.
One, two, three. Have you held a harrier before?
Not a harrier.
So I know you've held raptors from past years. But
1, 2, 3. Nice. Now you can see those long, slender tips as it flies away.
I'm glad I released it when I did.
you talked about basketball.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I didn't say that.
Look at it, still here. Look at that.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Well, I'll just do that. So my summer job is to monitor and teach about a family of peregrine falcons that nests on the side of a building in downtown Duluth. And this is an immature peregrine falcon. This one did not come from our nest box. When our birds nested pretty early this year, and when we went to band them, the chicks were too old for us to band. And the reason that they were too old is that if you go to band them before they're 28 days old.
Split Rock Lighthouse.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. So if you go to their nest site before they're 28 days old, and you come down over the edge of the cliff and you approach the nest, the youngsters will look at you and kind of put their feet out and scream. And if you go there after they're 28 days old, they'll try to get away. And so our birds were 29 or 30 days old, and they didn't want to take the chance of those birds jumping out of the nest, so they didn't band them. I just got a text message that said that this bird was banded as a nestling at Split Rock Lighthouse at the Gold Rock Nest Site. So this bird has what we call a color band on its leg. It's black over red. It says 69P. It was banded by Jackie Fallon, who is the keeper of records for the Midwest Peregrine Society. And so when they go to a nest site, they put 2 bands on the young birds. They can band them at as little as 14 days because at 14 days their legs are as big as they're going to get. And they put bands on that they know the bird will not outgrow. So you can see that it moves freely around the leg and up and down the leg. They have short, stubby little legs though. They put on a silver band that's issued by the Fish and Wildlife Service that has a 9-digit number stamped in it. That's the same kind that we use here. But when they're banding some of these species of concern or species of interest, they also put this color band on. That 2-color band is much easier to read with a scope or with binoculars. Excuse me just a second. Max? So because of my summer gig, I get a little bit squishy with peregrine falcons. They are just the best. So peregrine falcons are built for speed. They have been clocked by scientists at 270 miles an hour. They fly with very, very stiff, shallow wing beats. This bird probably left its nest 10 weeks ago and has now either begun his migration journey or is just out kind of checking out the area around. By the time they get to be about 6 weeks after they have left the nest, they have a range of many, many miles. Last fall, we caught a female immature peregrine falcon that came from the Twin Cities. She was color banded. She came from the Twin Cities and she spent the winter in Duluth. So she left her nest site, flew 150 miles north and was able to survive the winter here. There's enough food here. They eat birds. They use their speed to stoop on their prey. So they'll get up high. Oftentimes they'll put the sun behind them so that their prey doesn't see them coming, and they'll go into a dive. That's how they reach those speeds of over 200 miles an hour. Yeah, you. Look at them though. They want to see your face. They'll take these great big feet and their short, strong legs, and they'll kind of smack their prey. I saw our female peregrine falcon from downtown hit a pigeon so hard that the pigeon bounced off the surface of Lake Superior and kept flying. Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. Imagine if your bones were hollow. Peregrine falcons, this one's keeping his mouth closed, so it's kind of hard to see. Just like other falcons, have a tomial tooth on the side of their beak. That's a notch where on the top the beak comes out like this, and there's a jagged spike that comes down, and then the tip of the beak. And then there's a matching notch out of the bottom beak that's perfectly designed for severing the spinal cord of their prey. Yeah, yeah. Peregrine falcons have this really cool kind of migration pattern where the birds that nest up in the Arctic migrate to the southern tip of South America. And the birds that nest in this region go to southern United States and Central America. It's called leapfrog migration, and so those Arctic birds pass over all of the other birds in their migration. Peregrine means to wander in Latin. Don't look at me.
Like,
I would assume he gives you pretty nasty bites.
Yes, I don't mess around with biting. Not on falcons. Yes.
Do you think this bird will go through downtown and confront the locals?
Not during migration. Not necessarily during migration. A lot of times, if it's not the breeding season, peregrines will allow other peregrines to move through their territory. They may get up and do kind of a half-hearted territory defense. But they wouldn't necessarily attack and chase it off like they will next spring when they've got young in the nest and they're breeding. Don't look at me. Look over here. There. Does that help?
It's a mutual affection, you know.
It is a yeah, it must be. I'll tell myself that.
You put out, you get back.
This one's just a calm one. How was he caught? We have a banding station here at Hawk Ridge. It's a wide open field with several different kinds of nets out in the field. In and among the nets are lures that look like injured birds. So the banders sit in a blind and they work the lures on a string. And as the birds see that, they come in thinking they're going to get a free meal, and then they get caught in the nets. So it's like upside down fishing. It's just fishing into the sky.
Hefty gloves
They don't wear gloves, actually, and neither do we. You can feel better what the bird is doing. And once you've handled lots of raptors, you learn how to get a hold of the feet. The feet is the biggest issue with raptors. We don't mess around with the tail inside.
gloves anyway.
What?
You see the back of it?
Yes. I'm wondering if I might be able to get him to open up his wings just a little. Can you show us your wings? Okay, here's a really cool thing about raptors. A lot of raptors have dark colored feathers with light tips when they're young. And their feathers, the first set of feathers that they grow, are longer than adult feathers. So the first set of their flight feathers, that's these feathers here and their tail feathers, tend to be a little bit longer than the next set and the feathers that they'll have throughout the rest of their life. And that gives them a little more stability. They might compromise a little bit of speed and maneuverability. There you go. Show them your wings. It may compromise a little bit of speed and maneuverability by having larger feathers, but it gives them a better stable platform. It gives them more surface area to keep them up in the air. And I'm here to tell you that when these guys are learning to fly, it's not real pretty. It's a lot like watching a child learn to ride a bike.
Great.
So this summer, our administrative intern, Katie, worked with me downtown on Peregrine Watch, and I would like Katie to release this bird. We can't adopt this bird out. It's not ours to adopt out because we didn't band it. And so I want Katie to hold this bird. Okay. Katie got married this summer, and her honeymoon was scheduled for the week that the babies were going to fledge, and she canceled it. So, don't you think she deserves this bird? Yeah. He's a nice guy.
Still married.
And she's still married, yeah. Yep, okay. Question here.
How old is it?
Eric's got
Oh.
bridge camera.
How old is this bird?
Yeah.
3 months old. It hatched in June. His egg hatched in June, and then at 6 weeks after that, so probably in very early July, he started to learn how to fly.
Cool.
So yeah,
Is he still growing or is he pretty much his
this
full
is
height-
as
full
big as
size?
he's gonna be.
Oh.
Keep asking. And one more for good measure. 1, 2. 1, 2. There you go. Nice.
Okay. Hang on a second, Katie. His name is Nori. They assigned him a name.
Nori?
Nori. N-O-R-I. I don't know why.
Hey, Nori. You probably don't even know your name is that.
I don't think he probably does.
No, you probably don't really care either.
It's probably a care factor too.
Right?
So when Katie releases this bird, A, they're fast, so don't lose sight of him. And B, I want you to notice how their wing beat is different from other birds. They have a very stiff and shallow wing beat. They don't come real high above vertical. They don't get real down or below horizontal. They have a very shallow, stiff wing beat.
All right. You ready? 1,
2, 3. Yeah.